Elfinite Entertainment. Hello everyone and welcome to my Maniac Mansion walkthrough. Today I'm going to be playing as Dave, which you have to play as Dave. I'm using Bernard and Wendy, with the intentions of getting the Bernard and Wendy walkthrough. I apologize, as when cropping this video, I accidentally cropped out about 1 centimeter at the top of the screen where the dialogue is. So I'll fill you in with my own version of the dialogue. Dave says, "Guys, we gotta save Sandy. She's kept in this crazy mansion, so you gotta help me." Bernard's like, "No way, man. That place is creepy as fuck." Dave says, "Bernard, don't be a fucking tuna head." Wendy's like, "I'm down. Like, Bernard, you're such a pussy. Like, come on, we gotta do this. It's Sandy." "Thank you, Wendy," says Dave. "Let's just do this." Bernard's like, "All right, fine. The place is creepy, but I'll man the fuck up for you, Dave, because we gotta save your girlfriend. I don't know what you're doing for me. I'll take you out for some dinner and some drinks. Deal." "Sounds good to me," says Wendy. Okay, they're apparently still rambling and going on. Dave gives you a hint and says that there's a key under the mat. Your first clue. Here at this sign, you can read this, and it says, "Warning, any trespassers will be mutilated." So, letting you know that the place has some crazy people in it, and yes, they give you your very first hint. Now, I know to pull on the bushes here to remove that, so I can later go into that crate right there that accesses under the steps. I'm going to quickly move the floor mat. I'm then going to grab the key, use the key on the front door to enter the Maniac Mansion. So now I'm switching to Wendy for one particular reason. I like Dave's music better. Now, Wendy has a cool ending. That's why I brought her along. And I like her attributes, her skills in writing, and what it leads to her ending. But I'm going to get her captured right now. So we're going to enter the kitchen. And we're going to get busted by, I believe, Edna is her name. She's nasty, she's gross, she's got buck teeth, and she's throwing us downstairs in the cellar. So again, when you play this game for yourself, you'll see this dialogue quite a bit. She goes on a whole spiel about how I should tell my husband, blah, 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 or wait till I tell your parents I'm locking you up here. So I'm positioning Wendy where the loose brick is. I'm sure a lot of people know about that loose brick. That's going to come in handy later. So now I'm going to use Dave. I'm going to go through that kitchen now that Edna's out of the kitchen. I'm going to grab this flashlight here because I'm going to give that to Bernard a little bit later. You might have noticed I also stopped to open the microwave. I'm going to need the microwave later. So just to save myself a little bit of time, I just popped it open because it's going to remain open when I need to use the microwave. The only thing in the fridge worth grabbing is the can of Pepsi. There are some weak batteries there, but I don't need them. So we're going to make our way past a rotting roast and I believe a week-old turkey or something or other. But there's some rotten old food there on the table. Nothing of value, nothing that you need as we enter the pantry room. Now the pantry shelf is full of a lot of items. The only thing you really need is the jar, the glass jar. Very important piece. There is something on the top shelf, but that's for a different character named Michael. We don't need it. Okay, so a cutscene that always happens when you play this game at the start of the game is once you enter that pantry room and start to exit, Weird Ed is going to come out of his bedroom and he's going to come get some cheese for himself and his hamster. Sometimes it's okay to get caught by him. I'm going to bring Bernard to the front now, but this cutscene here always happens. Now, I want to get caught by Weird Ed with Dave. The reason being, we have Wendy downstairs in the cellar. We know about the loose brick. As a kid, I did not know about that loose brick. So when I ended up getting all 3 kids captured, I was just like, okay, I guess the game's over. But the indication that it isn't over is the fact that it doesn't end. It doesn't give you a game over. So it would give you reason to explore. Now, mind you, I was just a young child, so I guess I didn't have the cognitive thought to really move that cursor around and find the icon that says loose brick. So Weird Ed here has now captured us. He's going to take us down into the cellar, and I'm going to use Wendy to open that cellar so I can exit and then grab the all-important silver key that is in the dark furnace room by the fuse box. There is a light there that you can switch on, but I'm well aware that the silver key is there in this room. Now, you would think, how did you know that? One, if you played the game enough, you would eventually discover where the silver key is. Two, the room has a light switch, so once you turn the light switch on, you're going to explore it and easily see the silver key. Okay, so I accidentally pulled the loose brick. Nothing's going to happen when you do that. You got to push it. So now that I pushed it, I'm going to get Dave out of the dungeon and grab the silver key. Yeah, so basically I move the cursor up to the fuse box, move it to the right, and you'll find the silver key. But again, you can walk here all the way to the end where the door is that you can exit from that leads back to the main floor. But right beside the stairs is the light. I'm going to turn it on just to show you that, hey, I didn't just find that by random luck. Once you find the light switch, and you're always going to look for a light switch when you enter a dark room, that's just a given. You're going to do that in the game, and you're going to do that in real life. But the important thing is now we got that silver key. So we're going to motor back through the kitchen, back through the dining room, back into the pantry, and we're going to make our way out to the pool area and the garage. Now, I can't do much with the garage right now, but I can fill up the glass jar with the toxic water. The pool is filled with this toxic water that cools the house's reactor. So yeah, you definitely want to get that toxic water. It's important for something I'll do in a little bit. Now, truth be told, I didn't actually have to come here right now. I probably should have went upstairs first, and I realized that right there and then. So since I realized I shouldn't have come this way and I've wasted all this time, I've made some use of it by filling the glass jar. Normally, I would fill the glass jar later, but again, since I made that mistake, I decided, hey, I'm going to go upstairs. At least I can have the jar filled now, because there is a plant up on the top floor that you got to give in the correct order. The glass jar that's filled with the toxic water or mutated water, and then a can of Pepsi. That will make him grow big enough that you can access the observatory with a telescope. This room, grab the paint remover and the all-important waxed bowl of fruit. As far as I know, the paintbrush is not useful. Okay, so we made our way through that big, scary dungeon door that's not even locked for some reason, but hey, whatever, into this dark room here that we're going to turn the light on and get the important manuscript. Now, the manuscript is something that only one character can use. That is Wendy. I wanted to play with Wendy to get Wendy's cool ending. And since this is a combination of Bernard and Wendy ending, it is a pretty satisfying, interesting ending. Mind you, the dialogue will be cut out because I'm a fucking idiot who cropped out the top of the screen, but I'll actually say what the dialogue would say if I didn't crop it out or if you played it for yourself. So quickly, I give the wax bowl of fruit and the Pepsi to that tentacle. Well, actually, I get interrupted first by the cutscene with, I believe his name is Fred, the professor who is being brainwashed by the evil meteor, as he sits there and gives some funny banter dialogue back and forth with Sandy, letting him know that he's going to use his zombifier to use her as a test experiment. You know, this would make an interesting movie. It would make an awesome remake in a modern video game. Again, I'm an idiot who cut out that dialogue, and I'm really annoyed with myself for that. But truth be told, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's just a little bit of dialogue, and since you got to read it anyways, it's not the biggest issue. Again, it's going to annoy me, but it is what it is. So she's screaming help, help, help there at the door, just to give you that sense of urgency. But yes, as a kid, I remember getting here and giving this guy everything until I finally got it correct. The wax bowl of fruit and a full 12 ounces of Pepsi is all this guy wants to let you past. Otherwise, you will not be able to get by. So now that we've reached the 3rd floor, we're going to enter this room here, which has a pretty important radio right there next to that wanted poster. We'll get to that later as we pick a dime up off the ground. I don't need that dime in particular, but you might as well grab it. It's the easiest dime to grab. So in this room, the tentacles room, these giant awesome speakers, there's a record that's very important for Bernard. And up here, I believe it is the yellow key. We're going to need that yellow key, and we're going to need that record. I'll never see this room again for the rest of this playthrough, even though it's a kick-ass looking room. So now as we enter this room, we are going to get jacked. That's right, we're gonna work out. Now you can hit the button and end this little cutscene, but I figured I'm gonna do at least 3 full reps to feel juiced. So he says I feel a lot stronger now after doing that. That's gonna allow you to open the garage door out back and that little grate or crate or little window in the front that gets you in underneath the veranda or front porch. And of course, you can see what I'm doing with my cursor. You can see what I just did there. I grabbed the glass jar, which I filled up with that toxic water. I now given that to him. And now we're gonna give him the can of Pepsi, and he's gonna feel even more satisfied, and he's grown big, and now you can use him as a ladder to climb up into that room above. I'm not gonna climb up there now. I'm going to use the paint polisher on that door as well, which I already did. Boy, I'm doing this nice and smooth and quick. But yes, put that paint remover on that yellow wall, which exposes a new door. Okay, so now that Bernard has rung the doorbell, we got the attention of Strange Ned. I think that's his name. I believe the scientist is Ned. The woman is Edna, and this is Strange Ed. Yeah, so Strange Ed is now pissed off because he thinks a package is coming. He is waiting on a package, so he thinks his package is coming. So what we're gonna do now is we are going to burst into his room while he runs downstairs. We are gonna quickly, and I mean quickly, grab the hamster. More importantly, under that hamster, he is hiding a very important key card. Very important key card. You're gonna grab that, and then you're gonna open the piggy bank. But you can't do that because he has already reached the bottom, where he is annoyed with Bernard standing there playing Nicky Nicky 9 door, and he basically tells him to scram, beat it, get lost, and he charges back to his room. He's going to be there pretty quickly, but I've gotten quick enough that I can run over, open up that piggy bank, and grab the 3 dimes that are in it. You only need 2 dimes in this game to move and rotate the telescope, but I get all of them just in case I make some stupid mistake, which I pretty much never do, but you never know. It's the time you don't grab them is when you'll make that mistake. Since this is a LucasArts game, check out the X-Wing up there in his room dangling from the ceiling. I don't know what that other one is, but that one is clearly an X-Wing. So Strange Ed has found us in his room. We decided to wait for him and because we want to get captured. What we're going to do is, it's a quick way down to the basement for starters, and we're going to give that manuscript to Wendy if we haven't given it to her already, which we might have. But either way, we're going back down. And no, I have not given her the manuscript. I'm giving her the manuscript now because, well, that's her item. I got no use for it, so I want to make sure she has it. So when I need it later, I don't have to like seek out Dave and go get it. So when I encounter these characters, whatever they need, I'm going to give them with Dave to make sure I don't forget. And in this playthrough, I actually forget at one time to give Bernard the quarter, and well, I lose a little bit of time. I'm not looking to run this quickly, but I do like to save time when necessary. So now that strange Ed has come downstairs of the doorbell, he has locked the front door, so I got to let Bernard back in. But now we got a little cutscene here where they talk about their father, Fred, being a weirdo lately. Well, I guess that's his mom, actually. My apologies. He's talking to his mother about his dad being really weird lately, and they just have some back and forth about that. Again, I like this charming dialogue. I like this presentation. I like that they add to the story, and I like how these cutscenes pop in according to your playthrough. So if you've had no progress, really, it would not possibly just pop up. You would have to like progress through the game to trigger some of these little cutscenes. Okay, now that I can get back to what I was doing, I'm going to open the front door because Bernard is now locked out. And since I'm coming to see the front door to open the door for Bernard, I'm going to open up that right there because I'm the only one who can do it because I've exercised. I'm now strong enough to do that. So we're going to do that, and now we're going to do something that's actually quite important. We're going to head back out, which I thought I was doing earlier. Remember when I went out to the pool and I mentioned, I'm like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here. So because I wasted time, I filled up the glass jar. This is what we're going to do now. I was a bit ahead of myself. So we're going to go to the pool. First, we're going to go to the garage. We're going to open the garage. We're going to get a faucet. Inside that garage is a faucet handle. Also, we're going to use the yellow key to open up the trunk of the car. You'll see that in just a second. But the doorbell has rung. And good thing I got Bernard waiting out front. That wasn't a mistake. I left him there on purpose. So he's going to try to rush downstairs because he knows his package is coming. So we got Bernard out front. I left him there for a reason, to get that package. He's going to grab that package. He's going to go hide. Might as well pop him down below since I just opened that hatch for him. And at some point, I'll also open that and grab the stamp that's on it. But getting back to what I was doing before I was rudely interrupted by the doorbell, we're grabbing that faucet handle right there. And then we're going to open the trunk and get the tools. The tools are very important to give to Bernard. So it's at this time he's kind of bitching and complaining that people are playing tricks on him, and he's irritated by it. So he storms back inside, and we can continue on with what we were doing, which is opening that bloody trunk and getting the tools. Getting a lot of interruptions here from cutscenes, mostly because I'm playing the game rather quickly. Now, interesting fact, the world record of this game is about 5.5 minutes, if you can believe that. But of course, that is a glitched run, and I know how to do some of those glitches, but I prefer to play games the way they were intended to be played. I don't like finding little loopholes and weird ways to glitch past things that you're not supposed to glitch past. Kind of makes the whole point of the game meaningless. Especially also, too, it's like this playthrough, I want to show how to do everything the way the way the game wants you to. So we're going to turn that valve off and lower the pool. Now he's being like, damn it, the pool's been drained. And that's dangerous because the pool cools his reactor. And that will cause the house to explode. So his tentacle, which is his his muscle, his bodyguard, and his lackey that he makes do all his errands, he guards the door. He's sending the tentacle to go check in on the situation. And, the tentacle is pretty funny, by the way, too. This is why I am disappointed that the dialogue has been removed. But he's like, yes, sir, right, ready to serve you, Fred. And, front and center, he says. He's got a good personality. The game has that personality. It has that charm. And I've robbed you of that by accidentally cropping out that centimeter. But it is what it is. At least you're still going to learn how to play the game. And it is a fun game to play. So we're going to motor on down here because we don't want to leave the pool drained for long because it can cause the house to explode. So quickly grab that important glowing key and grab the radio and make your way back to the top. Something I can't stand, that stupid tentacle always turns that light off. It's so annoying. Like, I don't even need the light on in that room, but it's just like the tentacle's just always turning it off. It's really annoying. So now we're going to switch back to Bernard because we don't want the house to explode and kill everybody. We're going to turn that faucet, or that switch back off, the valve, close it. The pool's going to fill back up, and then we can go about our business because we got all that we needed, which was the glowing important key in the bottom of the pool and the radio, which is less important, but you might as well grab it when you have the time to do so. Safe to say I'm having a little bit of a brain fart at this time as I'm kind of pacing back and forth. So since I was having a brain fart, I decided to do something that I know needs to be done, which is now filling the glass jar with water. I'm going to pop that in the microwave. I'm not going to do anything with that now, but at least it's there waiting. So we turn the faucet back off, we grab that jar, and we pop it in the microwave, and I guess that will give me enough time to think about what I was doing, and which is going to see Bernard, I believe, to give him the dimes, to give him the flashlight, to give him many other things, as he's been locked out yet again because the doorbell was rung for the actual package. So now we are going to meet up with Bernard and give him all the things he needs, like the tools as well. Yeah, so we're going to give Bernard the flashlight, at least 3 dimes, the tools, and the batteries out of the radio that I got in the pool. So I'm going to give the stamps that Bernard had that he got from the package to Dave, because at some point Dave will meet up with Wendy and he can give that stamp, or stamps I should say, to Wendy because she's going to need them. So now we're going to motor on back upstairs and continue on this crazy adventure of this super ambitious, amazing game. Like, it is really one of a kind. Now, I don't fully remember what I'm up to right now, but I believe I'm going to go upstairs and we're going to get into the room with the telescope. But before we do that, I'm going to quickly grab the record that was given to me by Dave. We're going to pop that on this record player, and we're going to record the crazy, awful sound you are hearing. Horrific, I know. And then we're going to record that. But oh, I'm an idiot. I don't have the cassette tape yet, so I guess we'll do that later. And I just wasted 30 seconds to a minute of my time and a 30-second minute of your time And then we're going to make our way upstairs and carry on with that telescope business I was supposed to be doing. So to get the Bernard ending, there's a very important piece in this old radio on top of that shelf. This piece right here called the radio tube. We also opened up the cabinet exposing that stereo because we're going to need that a little bit later. As we make our way into the library, I am going to get that cassette tape that I thought I had, that I don't have because it's in the library. We're going to turn on the lamp here. There's one at the start of the room and one at the end of the room by the broken phone. We're also going to fix that phone and we're going to make ourselves a phone call. So we're going to open up this loose panel right here. You discover that stuff by moving the cursor around. You really want to move that cursor all around over everything and interact with things as much as you can. Whether it's reading things, clicking on things, pushing, pulling. You got to try a little bit of everything in this game to discover what you got to do. So now we got that cassette tape. We're going to use the tools because Bernard has the skills. See, Bernard has skills. He ain't completely useless. Each character has their own unique traits. So Bernard fixes the phone, but we need a phone number. So now Dave is going to enter the washroom. He's going to open this curtain, revealing a dead body in the shower, pretty much mummified. Kind of weird. We're going to take that faucet handle. We're going to put it on there since it's broken. You know, you put the pieces together, right? Got a shower head missing a handle. You find a handle faucet. And we see the number 44. We turn the water on. Push the body, we turn the water off. Remember that number, 3444. We're going to make our way out into the hallway here outside of Edna's bedroom because we got to distract her. We got to distract her so we can get in there and get a key. When you watch those cutscenes, you'll see that there's a key in her room. So now Bernard is going to use that phone. He's going to call with the number that was written on the wall because it said, call Edna, 34444. So we're going to punch that in. And we're going to call this crazy bitch. And I think I get fucked over, actually. I don't know if it was the playthrough where I did this, but we'll see in just a second. So there's crazy Edna. She's all stoked to get a phone call from her cousin. She, in a hurry, runs over and grabs it, starts gabbing away. I let her talk for a moment or two before I click back to Bernard. I should have switched over to Dave first. So now I make the mistake here. I accidentally walk away. That's going to screw up what she's doing up there. That interferes with the cutscene. So now, I'm going to enter the room. And oh, she's going to be like, intruder, eh?
What the fuck?
No, I messed that one up. So now I've wasted a bit of time, unfortunately. I'll get back up here in the matter of less than minutes. Just like 2 minutes, I'll be back up here doing the whole spiel all over again. But because I accidentally clicked that cursor with Bernard, it caused the cutscene of her talking to her cousin to screw up. So I've just wasted a bit of my own time. Hey, what can we do? We're not perfect, but at least I know what I'm doing, and now so do you. And it is annoying, but it's not that inconvenient. Seeing as I have Wendy down there waiting, ready to push that button so I can get out. Like I said, I've lost less than 2 minutes. I'm running up these stairs because I'm just going to stand outside her door again. And then we're going to make that same phone call with Bernard. And then I'm going to enter the room and I'm not going to fuck it up. We're then going to grab a key sitting on her desk. We're going to go up these stairs into a little attic above her room. Call to Edna, heist, trick, take 2. Now what's kind of funny is the first time you call, she actually has a whole bunch of dialogue chatting with her cousin. If you screw it up the second time, it just says, hi cousin, blah, 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 blah. implying that they don't even want to repeat it. Again, the game's showing humor. So yeah, now we grab that key and you go right up. You don't need to feel panicked here. You could even look around a little bit more, but I always have that level of anxiety that she's just gonna hang up the phone and bust me again. So I get back up here, and now Dave's gonna be stuck in this room for a little bit, but that's okay. We're gonna turn on the light, we're gonna pull on that poster on the wall, and we're gonna reveal a safe. That's when we're gonna send Bernard back up to the telescope room. But before we go up to that telescope room, we are going to attempt to record that horrible audio. So, screeching audio recording, take 2. Horrific, isn't it? But I love how this game is so specific. I have to put the cassette tape into the cassette, but I need to turn the radio on to even record. So you can't just put use radio. It'll say radio's off. So you gotta literally turn everything off. So even I'm not gonna leave that room with that thing screeching. I'm turning that Victoria record off because that is a horrible sound. And I don't even like the idea of it being on, because if I don't need to go back, actually I do enter that room again, but it's like, even if I didn't have to go back into that room, I don't like the idea of it just making that horrible sound. It's terrible. Nails on a chalkboard, painful. Ugh, it's awful. I hate it. Okay, so now that we're in the observatory, we're going to use the dimes. Now, unfortunately, someone built this thing in a pretty stupid way. You got to put a dime into this machine to rotate the the telescope. You need to rotate it to the right twice. So put in one dime, rotate it to the right, wait, put in another dime, and do it again. Okay, so the telescope has rotated for the second time. We're going to look into this. Now, I think it's best that you always grab a paper and pen and jot these numbers down just in case you need them, because you might not know to have Dave up here like I do. Now, I didn't have to write that number down because I'm right here with Dave already inputting that code, 1230, to get the envelope inside because, well, I already beat the game. I already went through all these, learning all this. And, well, actually, I beat the game at this point. I think this was probably my third time running the game with these characters. And I wanted to do it smoothly and precisely, or as smoothly and precisely as possible. So, yeah, so we grab that envelope, and we want to get busted. We want to get back down into the basement because we are now going to give the envelope to Wendy. So we're going to give the stamps and the envelope to Wendy because she needs both of those. So it's at this point Wendy and Dave are going to switch spots. We're now going to be roaming the house with Wendy, which is nice because up until this point she's been nothing more than a girl who presses on a loose door panel. I'm checking Dave's inventory to make sure there's nothing else that I'm supposed to give Wendy because I don't want to screw that up. So I double check that, smart thing to do. I let her out of the dungeon into the room where the light always seems to be turned off. I think I turn it on just because it annoys me here as we exit this room. But it's nice to have a little change in music at this point as well. Here is one of the most cryptic puzzles in the whole game. The envelope has a quarter inside of it, but to have her ending, if you open it manually, it will ruin the ability to do her special ending. You'll get the quarter, and the quarter is important, but you won't be able to do this. You need to have that jar of water in the microwave, which I already put in earlier, and the envelope, turn on the microwave, which will, I guess, steam the water in the microwave, loosening the letter to open up cleanly so you can reuse the envelope. Because the idea is we need to mail something to this TV show. And if you just rip the letter open, you can't really reuse that envelope. So kind of clever on their part and a very, very tough puzzle. This game is full of tricky little cryptic puzzles. So now that we've opened that, we've got the quarter. I need to get that quarter to Bernard, by the way. So now we got to watch this TV. We're going to turn this TV on and watch this funny little advertisement of this dude who has some pretty awesome dialogue. He says, we will, attention writers, musicians, and gamers, we will publish anything. Like, they sound super desperate. Like, that's, again, more of the humor in the game, that this guy's just so eager, so desperate to, have anybody work with them. So he gives their address. Now, when she watches that, she actually takes a mental note of that. You don't need to remember the address. Wendy herself will. And when you put the envelope on the typewriter, she will punch that address onto the envelope because she is a good writer. But before we do that, we need to take that manuscript. Now, we found a manuscript earlier that was written by the Meteor, who is the villain of this game, and it's just dribble. Like, she even says she's like a poorly written manuscript, like it's just terrible, terrible stuff. So since she's a writer, again, she has a unique character trait. She can interact with that manuscript. She's the only character where it's useful. So I'm going to take that manuscript, use it on the typewriter. She's going to rewrite that manuscript into something good, something that guy on the TV will actually like. So we write that. We then put the address on the envelope with the typewriter. We put the stamp on the envelope, put the manuscript into the envelope, and we're going to mail that out downstairs. So as she rewrites that manuscript, she says, that is much better. Because, if you actually mail the manuscript without rewriting it, he will reject it. He'll just call it garbage. So we're going to open that door for Bernard because he's going to need it later. Basically doing a nice gesture to him since I was there. We are now going to head downstairs and we're going to mail that letter away. The sooner we mail it away, the sooner they'll pick up that letter and the sooner our contract will come back. We want that contract. That all-important, juicy contract that unlocks not just her. You can have, with these characters, 3 different endings. And the one I'm going for, I think, is the most appealing and best ending, where you do a combination of Bernard and Wendy, but that contract is a big part of it. Okay, the game's very specific, so now that we're at the mailbox, we're going to open the mailbox. We're going to put the envelope inside, and then it doesn't end just there. See that little thing on the side of the mailbox? You got to pull that up so they know that there's mail in it. And now we're just going to pop Wendy downstairs where she can wait. We're going to leave her down there in a nice safe spot where she can wait. And I can also use her to check and see if it's been picked up. So we're going to pop back with Bernard here and make our way down. Well, make our way down, then make our way back up. And then we're going to turn on the light in here. We're going to put some batteries into the flashlight. And we want to fix that. But we need the power out to fix that. So at a certain point in the game, this cutscene will prompt where Fred comes upstairs and tells Strange Ed that the Meteor needs his, hamster? and he suspects that he has stolen the key card. He has stolen the key card, and we've already gotten that key card from him. So again, the game just showing a little more presentation and a little more personality. It's really quite charming. Cutscenes being triggered all pretty close together, and this couldn't have happened at a better time. Now, Fred is coming upstairs to tell his wife Edna that he needs to turn the power off for 5 or 6 minutes, where she says to him, "It feels like you've been downstairs for 5 years." And that, he basically ignores her. She never sees him. And he says, "It's all for a good cause, and don't worry, my sweets. Everything will be better very soon." Again, more presentation, more charm. And it's all being triggered pretty quickly because I am doing everything rather quickly. This is the kind of game where you can get stuck for hours on end. And believe me, my first time playing without any hints, guides, or walkthroughs, I was stumped. There were definitely things I had to consult because I didn't want to waste a lifetime doing it. Which is why, if you've always wanted to beat this game, feel free to use this as a walkthrough. I'm showing everything that needs to be done for this specific walkthrough without hidden tricks. There are things you can do in this game that I didn't want to do them without having to learn how to do it in the first place. It's like, oh, you can get through this door with the code of blah, 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 blah. But it's like, yeah, but how do you find that code? You can call Edna with this number, but it's like, how do you find that number? I want to know those things. I want to be able to make sense of how you do that. I don't want to just be given the answers. I want to play the game and see how you fix those problems. And well, I did as much as I could in this game, and here's one I figured out on my own. It's the record I recorded, that horrible screeching sound. Well, I noticed right away early there's a key up in that chandelier. It's one of the first things I noticed. And I wandered around this room for a while attempting to get it down until I gave up and searched around. Eventually, when I put the record on the old Victorian record player and it made that screeching sound, I kind of slowly started putting 2 and 2 together, and I solved that one on my own. I'm proud to say that, because not all of them I did, like that envelope. I ripped that envelope open, and I never knew to get a secret ending. That was something I learned after I beat the game on my own, and I don't think I ever would have figured that one out. So now he's going to be turning the power off soon. I hope he turns it off ASAP. So right here, Fred's playing Meteor Miss, a game in the arcade room that I haven't even gone in yet. This is the game's way of giving you a little clue to something. It will keep doing that as well, too, if you keep playing. He'll keep attempting to play that game, but he keeps saying that the power's broke. Well, the power's not actually out. It's the wires up here. These wires will fix the arcade cabinets and make, well, the one game able to be played. And while naturally you can't actually play that game, but there is something hidden on the high scoreboard of that particular game. Once you fix these wires, and of course I would really like to put the power out. Now I could put Wendy downstairs. I could take her upstairs. So as you see, the mailbox was empty there. It's been picked up, so that's good. But we do want the power off, but Buddy's going to be turning it off pretty soon. If I wanted to do it again, I could rush upstairs, get caught. But hey, look, everything's fallen nicely into place. Here is the TV executive. He is stoked. He has seen the contract, and he says it's going to make millions, maybe even billions. He says it's a masterpiece, and he cannot wait to work with Mr. Meteor on this awesome manuscript to create some kind of show. Look at him running back and forth. He looks hilarious. He's going to gaze out the window as he's just super stoked about this. So now he's going to mail that contract back to the house. So again, we're going to keep Wendy outside, so when the doorbell goes off, we can grab that contract. Since I'm kind of killing time right now because I need the power off, I'm going to open up this door because I got to just kill time. I got nothing to do right now. So it's a waiting game, or I just do something. So, okay, well, I open that up, but I can't do anything with it because I don't have a code for that door. Now, I will say there's a code that a lot of people know about. You can use the code 0000 to open that door. But you know what? I didn't know that when I first played it. I wanted to figure out how to actually get through that door. The code is on the arcade machine's high score. To make the arcade machine work, you got to fix those wires upstairs where Bernard is. So we need that power to go out. And at this point, I'm not going to go upstairs and get caught and go to the fuse box. Because if you want to turn the power off yourself, you got to turn the fuse box off in that room there where the light's always off. The fuse box is in there. You can turn the power off yourself. Now, if I was way behind, or if he already turned the power off, I would have did it myself. But it's almost like the game kind of wants to help you a little bit, or give you a little bit of clue. Because when you attempt to fix this with the power on, he gets like a zap. And it's like you just can't do anything about it. And well, would you try to fix wires when the electricity's on? Not unless you're a fucking idiot, right? So the game does leave subtle hints. Okay, it's go time. I switched over to Wendy because I was just switching between characters, and then I saw the lights were out. So we're back with Bernard here. So we are going to turn on that flashlight. Look at that glorious square box of light. And we're going to grab those tools. We are now going to fix that. And we are in business. Now, he did say that the power was going to be out for 5 or 6 minutes. So again, unfortunately, we got to kill a little bit of time because there isn't a whole lot I can do right now. But we are waiting on that contract to show up. So at least while the power's out, at least that contract will arrive. Now, unfortunately, I did make one small minor mistake. Now, I have nothing to do, so I put that radio tube into this machine here, the room with the poster, below the tentacles room with the giant speakers, because again, I'm just looking for things to do right now. So I might as well put that tube into the radio and fix that. But I should have went down, met up with Wendy, and got the quarter from her, because once the power's back on, I'm going to that arcade cabinet to play that game, to see the high score, to get that number. Again, write it down. And that is how you get the actual number to open up that big door down where the secret lab is in the dungeon. That mysterious door. How do you get that number? You know, sure, as a kid, we could have just hit 000111. And to our astonishment, that's probably how somebody discovered that 000 was a secret number that will always work. We just got the contract. It just arrived in the mailbox there, so good thing we got that. Now we're wandering around the house in the dark with Wendy, and I wish I would have remembered to give the quarter to Bernard, but brain fart number 3 in this run. I am essentially just aimlessly walking around at this point right now. It won't be out for much longer, but it is kind of annoying. I kind of wish I could have lined it up all a little bit different. And I'm getting her caught is what I'm doing. Something I've never seen before is getting caught in the dark. So I'm using because I know the house rather well. So I've navigated my way into Edna's room where she'll capture me and throw me down in the dungeon, because now that we've pretty much accomplished everything, we're at the final length of the game. We're ready to do the last bit. But I made that dumb mistake. I literally just walked by Bernard and did not give him the quarter. I'll realize that when I go to the machine and I'm like, fuck, I need a quarter to play it. So then I got to get busted with Bernard, go down to the dungeon, get the quarter off of her, go back up the stairs, put the quarter in, get the code, switch over to Dave, open the door, and then do everything else. And then I'll do some other things too, some other key things. We're going to call the Meteor Police. That's right, the Meteor Police. You heard that correctly, the fucking Meteor Police. This is one of the coolest parts of the game. With Bernard and that little radio in that room, you are able to call the meteor police out in space. And they're going to come arrest the meteor that has the professor brainwashed. So I'm actually chilling in this room right now. I'm actually reading that poster right now. It gives you a number of 9111. Sometimes the number's different, but it's pretty much always 9111. Again, sometimes it will be a different number. Something else you could write down, but again, the poster's always there. It's not going anywhere. You can read the poster at any time, but what you cannot do is you cannot call the meteor police too many times. If you call them too many times, they will stop showing up. So when you're ready to have them arrive, be sure to call them. So essentially, again, I'm killing a little bit of time wandering around the house with my flashlight as Bernard, just waiting to enter that arcade. And now I should talk about the ending here a little bit while I have some time to talk about it, as we're in the, the closing stages or the end game of Maniac Mansion. Now, when you call the meteor police, you got to do something specific. He will say that you have to have the dungeon door open. Okay, so that means the dungeon door, we got a rusty key. It says right there on the screen, old rusty key. I got that from the chandelier. That opens the room that they keep throwing you in. Now you got to push the loose brick. That's how we've been getting out the whole time. But now we have the actual key. Now that the power's back on, we're going to go play Meteor Miss. But then I'm like, all it took was me entering the room to realize I forgot the quarter. So going to go get busted again. Go through that whole process, go downstairs, go back up, play the game, and get the code. But again, so let's talk about the Meteor Police. You can have the Meteor Police interact in this game in two different ways. If I just call the Meteor Police and open the two doors, the one with the rusty key and the one to the secret lab, and wait 5 or 6 minutes, because that is how long it takes. No, 5 minutes. It takes them 5 minutes to arrive. You'll hear a siren go off. They'll run through the dungeon, go in, and arrest the meteor. You then just have to go in and save Wendy, and you'll have, in that case, a Bernard ending. But if you call the meteor police, but then enter the room and take care of the meteor yourself, you'll see what happens when we get there. It's really cool. It's a nice combination of endings. Okay, so we're getting that quarter from Wendy. Again, that's the third bonehead mistake in this game. They were all really minor things, but again, there's so much to do, so much to remember, that, and when you have three characters who are all holding things, sometimes it is definitely difficult to remember that. I could have actually just opened that door with Bernard with the rusty key, but whatever. I'm so used to using that loose brick technique that it got me to exit just fine. But yeah, so now we're going to go get that code so Dave can get in and save his girlfriend. Now, you can use any character to save Sandy, but the important thing is you need to take the contract with you. So as you can see again, there was Fred the scientist, the madman, playing Meteor Miss. The game is really trying to tell you something when it's showing that little cutscene. It's like, yeah, before the power wasn't out, so we couldn't play it. Now the power's on and he is playing it. Wouldn't you want to go play it? You got a quarter. You knew arcade cabinets back in the day took quarters to play. So you're going to put that quarter in now and see what Meteor Miss is all about. So a cool little Mario sound effect there with the number 3301. I would write it down just in case. Now you can use a key to get your quarter back. I'm not going to need it. I know the number. I wrote it down just in case. Now we're going to get Bernard back down into the dungeon one last time. And again, it's a bit of a shortcut. It's like a fast track to the dungeon just to get caught. You got to listen to their dialogue each time, which can be a little tedious and a little bit annoying, in which case Edna's dialogue is shorter. But before we do that, we got to call the Meteor Police. So we're going to get Dave to open up this door first, because we need those doors open. You don't want to waste time. It takes them 5 minutes to arrive, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Be preemptive, have the doors open. So let's get the first one open. Boom. But we're not going to walk in just yet. Earlier when the lights were out, I had the flashlight with Bernard. I shined it on that poster. I read it. It gave us the number 9111. We're going to call that number now. As we turn the machine on, we put that radio tube into the machine earlier, and now we're going to dial up the Meteor Police for a pretty sweet cutscene. Also, a pretty cool Indiana Jones sound there. So, here we are in space. We got that funny little Meteor Police pulling this guy over, and he says, "This is the Meteor Police." I'm paraphrasing. And he says, "I'll be there in 5 minutes, but make sure the dungeon is open." And he says, "As for you, keep it under light speed." Again, more charm, more personality. You know, he has this, like, he's a cop, right? He has this guy arrested for speeding, and he tells him to keep it under light speed. It's pretty funny. The game it just oozes with charm, and it just oozes creativity. So excellent. So we did that. He's going to be on his way. He'll be here in 5 minutes. But we want to beat him. We don't want him to show up. Now, if you want a separate cool ending, wait in the dungeon for him to arrive. But we're not going to do that. We're going to have him come here, but we want to get the job done before he arrives to get the combination ending between Bernard and Wendy that you'll see in a few moments. Now, this part is important. We're going to use the rusty key to open that door. Do not walk through. As soon as you walk through, it will close. So make sure you just open it and remain in here. So both of those doors are open for the Meteor Police. So I am now going to give the contract to Dave, which I believe Wendy has. So we are going to enter. We make sure we have everything we need. You need the card key, and the contract. Very important. Do not run up to him. He'll bust you and throw you back in the dungeon and close the door. Give him the contract. He starts shaking with excitement and nervousness. He's like, "Oh my God, you know the Meteor? An exclusive contract?" He's like, "Oh, I was just following orders." He starts acting like a cowarding little bitch, and he lets you through. You know what I mean? He realizes you're important because you got that exclusive contract, so he lets you on through. Truth be told, I'm not even sure how to beat this game with other characters. I only know how to do it with these ones. So I'm not too sure how to get by him without that contract. Okay, so as we walk past Sandy, he kind of mocks you. He talks about how his tentacle didn't do a good job because you've made it all this way and how you made it through all your traps. Important part here, got to use that card key on that door to make your way into here, and we're going to pull the lever to lift him from the brainwashing of the Meteor. Okay, so we pull the lever down to free Sandy and help the scientist from being brainwashed, and he says, "Oh, what happened? I feel much better now. I'm free of this machine's control. But wait, the self-destruct sequence was initiated. I'll try to turn it off. I can't disable it. The Meteor must have control of the entire system. Hey kid, you've got to help me. You have to get rid of that Meteor once and for all." So how are we going to get rid of that Meteor once and for all? By giving the contract to the Meteor. That's how. So we give the contract. He says, "Wow, a lucrative publishing contract." I'm going to be famous. I don't have to be evil anymore. Dr. Fred, release the prisoners. We're going to be rich. Welcome back from our break. We've been talking with the celebrity rock who gave up a life of evil for a career as a writer. So, Mr. Meter, how does it feel to be famous instead of infamous? Well, Wink, it feels great. But I couldn't have done it alone. There's Wendy. She helped out with her great writing skills. But wait, there's more. There's the Meteor Police. I don't care if you reformed, says Mr. Meteor Police. You're still coming with me. Now that is an ending. Thanks for watching. Well, there you go. Maniac Mansion with the Bernard and Wendy ending. Using Dave to give the contract to the Meteor to save his girlfriend, Sandy. Getting the job done, glitchless, in under an hour. Absolutely fantastic, super creative game. The very first ever LucasArts game, and it's literally a one-of-a-kind game that sparked the genre. It's absolutely fantastic. I love that it has multiple endings, and I look forward to playing those other endings. But I think this ending's really, really awesome. Thanks for watching.